Hey, what's going on there, people of YouTube? It's Jay, the guitar historian, here with you today. And wanted to do kind of an instant reaction type of video, kind of like I did with my Brian May one a couple of videos ago. This one's pretty crazy, though. This one's pretty crazy. So I read a report today that apparently the Penny Lane signs in Liverpool had been defaced. And this is all part of the culture of right now, a lot of racist history being brought to light, a lot of statues being torn down, a lot of history being questioned. I wouldn't say questioned. I'll get to my feelings on the matter in this video. But long story short, apparently last night, some people in Britain defaced the Penny Lane signs. I'll fly up some pictures as I'm talking. And as you can see, they blacked out the penny part. And they wrote racist on top. And they put another one where something about him being a slave trader. Now, the problem is that Liverpool doesn't really have any records on whether or not this street was named after a slave trader named James Penny. But there was a slave trader in Liverpool in the 1800s named James Penny, and they're, I won't say sure, but there's a legend that it was named after him. He was an affluent businessman and apparently lived in that area, and they think that's why that was named Penny Lane at some point. But they didn't really keep the records of why streets were called what they were. It was just called that. Now, I don't think this is going to affect the Beatles song at all. I don't think it's going to, people have understood that the Beatles have been anti-racism, anti-segregation since they first stepped off the plane in America. They were the first band to put in their contract that they would not allow segregated audiences at their shows. Their record is off the charts sterling, okay? So I don't think the Beatles are going to be touched by this. However, it is possible that Liverpool may be forced to change the name of Penny Lane, which obviously would be a big deal. The reason why it means so much to me personally is because me and my wife actually visited Liverpool about a year ago. We visited Penny Lane. We went right to the original sign. When Paul McCartney did the Carpool Karaoke with James Corden, he actually signed the Penny Lane sign, and that is visible, and I took a picture of it, which you're probably seeing right now. So, me being on Penny Lane and seeing it for what it was, which, for those of you who don't know, Penny Lane is a street. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought maybe there would be some kind of, like Beatles thing going on there. It would be kind of like, no. Right where the old Penny Lane sign is, there's a football field, and that's soccer if you don't know. Across the street, a couple blocks up, it's just houses and a quiet residential area with cars parked out front and everything like you would see anywhere in America. No stores, no tourist traps, nothing. Just a street. And there's a roundabout that Paul sang, a little bit up the ways with the bus stop in the middle and the fireman's place is near there and the barbershop's there. But it's just a regular old street. And, it kind of sucks that people who are living on that street may have to get everything upended at this point because of that. And obviously, it's something of a tourist attraction for people that go to Liverpool. They want to see Penny Lane. They want to see Strawberry Fields. They want to see the Cavern. And that is what it is, So, my thoughts on this, just as a reaction, are, if it was named after a slave trader, it was named after a slave trader, and it's bad, okay? And it needs to be changed in some way. But maybe there's a way to do it that makes everyone happy, that you can keep the name, but since it was never technically officially named after anybody, maybe we can now officially name it after the song. And we can put some signs out, maybe change the Penny Lane signs to more Beatle-esque signs with, psychedelic colors or something along those lines. Maybe have a little memorial there to the song, to the Beatles, that people can take their picture with or something. Just change the meaning of Penny Lane to only mean the Beatles song and not mean this person from years and years ago. Because obviously the name Penny Lane has been immortalized in song. It doesn't mean anything about the slave trade at all. And you would think that, there's some kind of compromise that can be made here. Now, the problem is that they don't really know. They're not sure if it was named after this guy, James Penny, or if it was already named Penny Lane before he even lived. I think they're going to have to do some digging in the archives to find out exactly what's going on here. If they find out that it wasn't named after him, then great, and we can all move on and nothing will change. If they do find out it was named after him, they're going to have to figure something out. Because in my opinion, changing things like that or taking down statues of people that have done terrible things, it's not a bad thing. You're not forgetting your history. That's not changing your heritage, Right now, we're dealing with a thing in South Philly, which is literally 4 blocks away from where my parents live. There's a statue of Christopher Columbus. And as we know now, not only was Christopher Columbus not the first one to come across the Atlantic, the Vikings were, but he was terrible. He did a lot of terrible, terrible colonialist things. And all you need to do is look up the history of Christopher Columbus and you'll find out he was a pretty bad dude, right? But Italian Americans down in South Philly, they feel very strongly about the Columbus Day Parade and the history of Christopher Columbus being an Italian and everything. I mean, even though there's tons of other Italians, for Christ's sake, the Columbus statue is in a park in South Philly called Marconi Plaza. It's named after Marconi, the wireless inventor. He's fine. Why don't you put a statue of Marconi up, He's the fine Italian that you can rally around, or Galileo, or Michelangelo, or Leonardo da Vinci, or any of these other painters or philosophers, or all these great, people that came out of Italy during the Renaissance. I mean, there's tons of them, I don't get it. But, this is a reckoning. This is a time of reckoning where we are facing a lot of truths and a lot of things that maybe we were brought up to believe were wrong. And things that are going to make people upset or make them uncomfortable, because of the history of those things. If this street was named after a slave trader, it's terrible, Did Paul know that when he wrote Penny Lane? Of course not. It doesn't, I don't think, cheapen the song at all. It doesn't cheapen the, meaning of it at all, because it had nothing to do with that. It was just about the atmosphere of his childhood and remembering Penny Lane as a street. That being said, I don't know what the right answer is. I'm not the person to ask. They're going to have their work cut out for them in Liverpool. It's a beautiful city. We had a lot of fun there. A lot of great people there. And hopefully they come to the right decision, because it's a tough nut to crack. But let me know what you think in the comments. I welcomed our discussions about Brian May and about Eric Clapton on the other video that I made about his outburst in 1976. I seem to be making a lot of these videos recently about, getting your thoughts and getting your comments. But let's hear what you have to say and what you think about this, because this touches the Beatles now, and here we go. Is it going to go that far? We'll find out. Let me know what you think.